Salama, 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 salama. Nionapo amani kama shwari, kama nionapo shida, kwa mambo yote umenijulisha. Well, thank you very much, brethren. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, listeners. Today, officially welcoming you to Yellow Ribbon Initiative, where we're going to discuss something about the integration of offenders. So this is a project that we have opened, is being piloted or floated by Flair Africa. I want to thank God that this moment we have been given so that we might be able to expose issues or factors that are affecting many of us who have been incarcerated. We have had times when people go to prison. And this is just something I need to tell you, that not everybody that finds himself in custody is a criminal. There are instances where people have found themselves in custody because of being present in a place at the wrong time, and because of the poor investigative system that we have, people have landed in crazy places, like now as we are talking about imprisonment. However, in the Yellow Ribbon Initiative, we are not really talking about people going to prison, but we want to see how they can be reintegrated into the society. However, today I'm going to talk to you about my life in prison, how I landed in prison. It was a very, very unfortunate event, but this is just to let you know that anybody can land in prison. So, welcome as we get around the clock to understand reasons why people can be in prison unexpectedly. Brethren, what God has done in our life for those who have gone through troubled times in custodial times, we have reason to celebrate and thank God for where we have been. Kwa kila hali nitasema ni salama rohoni mwangu. Salama, niko neema, sitashuka tena. Yesu amenisitiri. Welcome to Yellow Ribbon Initiative. This is a place where we rediscover ourselves from chains to crowns. We talk about dreams of people who are in prison. We talk about stories of imprisonment. We talk about stories of memories of prison. This is a place where people have come out and grown. When you are in prison, a seed is planted, and though it may seem like it is dead, but it is germinating and is growing. The Bible says that though it may seem the last moment for a tree that has been cut down, but it will shoot up again. And that is hope for the hopeless. Those whom you thought will never come out, one day they have come out, because admission into custody is just a process in time. God bless you as we begin the process. Let's get the ball rolling. Allow me to get the ball rolling right now so that I may be able to explain to you exactly what happened that I came to find myself in custody. And I know many people will not understand this, and many people have never come across, we've never talked about this story before. But the truth of the matter is, anybody can find himself in prison. In my story, it's very interesting because the person that I trusted most when it came to business, because initially I was doing business and personally in my life I've never been employed elsewhere. And so I got into import business to import motor vehicles from Japan. And that is the first time I ever got myself into trouble. And the problem with me that I committed is that I was stupid. I was simply foolish to have trusted everybody. That if you could trust me to hand me over your money so that I transact with it and deliver what you have given me, then I could also trust you. However, in time, I came to learn that people are very deceptive. And this story is with respect to my own very close person whom I knew he would never ever think of anything negative about me. However, it happened and I landed in Kasu. So I want you to listen very carefully. Never ever at any one point trust either your brother, your friend, your relative, your wife, your children. Don't trust them when it comes to business because we have seen a situation where relatives take themselves to court. And at the end of the day, if you cannot justify your actions documentally, then you are in for trouble. My troubles began when I engaged into business with my very close relatives. That is a very sad affair because it affected our relationship. I used to import motor vehicles from Japan, and when I got the vehicle, because we had documentation that we have engaged into business and transacted, I was paid the money, which is coming to around 400 something thousand. However, because of uh, the process of it all, we had to do some documentation to confirm that I was getting the vehicle from Japan. And of course, I have an account with companies, about six companies, where I can mark or search where those that have cheaper dollar rates and cheaper prices for whatever motor vehicle. And so the client came and asked me if I could do a motor vehicle import for it because it was cheaper and somebody could save up to 200,000. Well, we got into business because, as usual, everybody wants to be involved in business, and we did an agreement to confirm that he has engaged me as a relative or a friend to bring in business from Japan or to bring in motor vehicle from Japan. Now, when the vehicle landed in Mombasa, because I have paid what is called CIF, that is cost, insurance, and freight. Cost is the value of the vehicle from wherever place, Japan, and then insurance, you have to insure the vehicle just in case of any trouble that you encounter in the seas or high seas. And freight is actually the transport, so you've got to pay all those. Let me tell you, to import a vehicle in Japan is very easy and it's very cheap. But there's risky affair because you don't know who is honest. But for people like us who have established clientele in Japan, the UK, we can easily import a vehicle for you without any doubt. There are vehicles also in the high seas. You can book a vehicle when it is still in the waters. In the waters means it's in the on the ship being shipped to your port, or like for example, for my case, it's Mombasa. So you can book a vehicle while in the high seas, and then as soon as it's here, it's about 1 2 weeks already in Mombasa, and you just go and pay the duty. And so what happened is that I was paid the money with the documentation, and I was an agent of a company in Japan. Of course, I have records on that. But now, when the vehicle docked, the ship docked, carrying the vehicle in Mombasa now, this is where the circus began. I called the client and I told the client, now, please, the vehicle has arrived. Let's get into clearance so that we may be able to deliver the vehicle. Now, the person came, which I understood possibly that was true or not true. He told me, I don't have money for duty. Now, at this point, I have five vehicles pending clearance of duty in Mombasa. I was at the initial stage of my business, therefore, I had not saved much money. The commission paid in this, many of the clients, we don't charge them commission because we negotiate our fee from the supplier. So unless the client just comes and says, I will give you 5,000, 10,000, well, that's a token, that's lunch, we have no problem with it. But because we are taken care of by the client, we find it easy. I mean, by the supplier, we find it easy to give that service to the client. Now, when the client has said that I don't have money for duty, we had to strain and told him, please, if you are not careful, you will lose it. Now, it forced me to go to negotiate with the storage providers in Mombasa. I sent somebody and negotiated, and we were given 45 days grace period unpaid, and that is always available. We have yards which offer that service. And of course, if you organize with a supplier, that service will always be provided, or still will be provided at a lesser fee. And sometimes again, you encounter a problem where the KRA increases just a slight increment of duty prices, and you have no choice but to accept it. So what do? You take responsibility and pay, because you cannot go back to the client and tell him the prices have changed because the duty has been increased. They will come back to you for misrepresentation, unless you get a client who can easily understand what you are talking about. And so for my case now, the client, after 45 days of grace period, I kept pressing him. I sent a mail, copied documents to confirm to him that we have been granted this opportunity for this period. He still did not pay. And what happened was very surprising. He rushed, instead of coming to me to talk about it or going to the port to confirm if the vehicle is there and negotiate for extra paid service for the storage. He rushed to the DCI and reported that I have obtained money by false pretense. That is the beginning of the game. Welcome as we continue in the second part.
Nikakosa faraja, lakini mkono wako ukanishika pole, ukaniinua juu. Sasa nasimama imara. Baba, umeninua kutoka chini, sasa niko juu. Salama rohoni mwangu, salama, hakuna hofu tena, hakuna katika dhoruba na mawimbi. Wewe ni ngome yangu, salama, salama rohoni mwangu, salama, salama, Yesu ndiye ngome, salama.
Yes. Hallelujah. God is good. Those of us who have been through custodial times, and those of us who have gone through trouble, God will rise you from one position to another. Some of us have gone from chains. Our hands have been tied, but now we have risen up to the occasion and we are rising up to the highest. Welcome to Yellow Ribbon Initiative. It's a program for the ex-convict to be restored into the society. Now, the music has ended. I have been reported as having obtained money by false pretense, and that's the assumption that I got. But I later learned that the report that was made was stealing by agent. This was a very interesting scheme, because obtaining money by false pretense takes you for about you can be convicted for 3 years. But stealing, which he specifically stated or designed or drafted the charge through the negotiation with the officers, then is a charge that can convict you for 7 years. Remember, this is a close person. He wants you to be out of custody for 7 years. I mean, out of your home with your family for 7 years. My people even offered to pay them the money, in as much as I did not use the money for personal gain. But he said, no, if you don't have the entire amount of money, then don't give me part of the money, because my family could not afford. I have become foolish. I didn't even save anything. So, because it was the initial stage of the business. So that was the process. And as we were going on with the case, there was a conviction from them, or trying to convince me that I give in, and along the way, they will ask the court for forgiveness. These are relative, and I almost bought the idea. Actually, bought the idea, because as the hearing process proceeded on, I did not take it seriously. We were just laughing, and the magistrate was just writing. Until one day, a court clerk called Samuel, I will not give the other names, told me, young man, okay, I'm older than him. He told me, listen, I really have to sympathize with you because this so called close person does not want you to have this. I want you to go and consider this case will put you in custody for 7 years. These people are serious because they have provided evidence. You are joking. Take this case seriously, or else you will regret it. So I went back to home because I was out on bond or cash bill. And then I thought about this. What is happening here? Brethren, I went back and studied the case of stealing by agent because previously I misunderstood the case. And I was handling obtaining by false pretense, which was an error. And nobody, even the magistrate, did not tell me. Even prosecution did not tell me. Because you are handling a different case from what you have. That was very fatal, very tragic. It would have taken me to prison. And so when I came to learn that the case at hand is stealing by agent, I went and I studied the elements, we call it the elements of the offense, of elements of the charge. Now, I learned that this charge requires evidence to be proven that I was the agent of the complainant. Good. And it also they have to prove that I took the money from them and converted it for my personal use. Good. So I studied it and I said, now let me go to court now. When on the day we were going to be given a date to close the file, this is when I raised up my hand and I told the magistrate, Your Honor, I have one last request. I pray that you recall for me all the two witnesses, the complainant and the IO, the investigation officer. And I was granted that pursuant to section 210, section not 210. There is a grant given to a complainant, and I'm doing this to teach everybody else. When you get to court, if you find there is an error you have done and you need to recall a witness, you have a provision to go recall twice or two people. And so I recalled them. And I was very sharp and prepared at this moment. So when they came, I began with the complainant. Because initially there are some questions I didn't ask because I knew I was going to be released. It's only until this boy warned me. So I asked the complainant one question. I asked him now, you have mentioned to this court that I was your agent. Can you provide our agency contract with you? He said she doesn't have. But the fact that I engage you means you are my agent. I told him no. I have an agency with a company in Japan and I gave the name of the company. And the contract is here. Where is yours? She produced the agreement that we signed of engaging me to import the vehicle for her. Then I told her that is a contract of purchase, not an agency contract. She said she doesn't understand. That's it. I produced the document. Now, she had faltered in that bit. Did you pay me? How much money did you pay me for the vehicle? She said 400,000. How much had we agreed for the vehicle? 800 and something. Okay, there is a lapse. So now I was supposed to import the vehicle for you from Japan. Correct? Yes. Did the vehicle dock? Did it arrive in Mombasa? I cannot confirm, I'm not sure. Then I gave her, did you get this document? He said, yes. You can prove that? Yes. Does it entail anything to do with Mombasa? He said, yes. Good. So the vehicle arrived in Mombasa and we agreed about that because you have also my email. He said, correct. Then I asked another question. Did you pay the duty? She said, we agreed that you bring the vehicle and I will refund you the money. Then I said, fine, if that be true, can you produce the document? Because we had the other agreement up to Mombasa. Now, can you produce the document that shows that we agreed you refund me the money once it arrives in your house? She said, I don't have. Thank you. So you cannot prove to this court that we had that an agreement. You can't. Did you pay the duty? No. Now, when the vehicle arrives in Mombasa, what happens? The duty has to be cleared. Now, to be cleared, when you don't clear the duty and pay the duty for the government, what happens? She said, I don't know. Then I clarified by citing the law that vehicles that have laid in the port without clearance are destroyed by the government. And I produced the document. So, you did not pay duty. I was not your agent. So, what happens? You drag me to court on your failures. Your vehicle was destroyed by the government. And that matter, for her, she could not answer any further. Then the court now brought in the investigation officer. Very simple. Investigation officer, your job is to do investigations with respect to this matter. Did you investigate the matter? Yes. Which company was to supply the vehicle? She doesn't know. How much money was paid to me to deliver the vehicle? She doesn't know. She had to check the documents from the prosecution officer. She talked about 400. I told her, no, the vehicle wasn't 400. The document is here. It is 800 plus thousands. And how much did the client pay? 400,000. Did she complete her part of the responsibility? She said, you agree that you've got to deliver the vehicle regardless. I am asking a question. Did she complete her part of the bargain from 800 to 600 or to 400? Did she complete? No. We are in agreement that the client paid the money and I confirm receipt. Did you confirm if the company received the money so that they deliver the vehicle? She did not confirm. And so now, you did not confirm if the vehicle arrived. You don't know the company that was delivering the vehicle, and you even don't know if I was working for an agency. So you had a poor investigation in from your end. So how do you charge me in court like that? Both failures of your client? She kept quiet. And that is how I got out of the news, the hangman's news. I got out of a case that was going to put me in custody for 7 years. A very close relative could have put me in custody. What am I saying here? Be careful lest somebody whom you think is very close and trusted, he is going to take you to custody when you are just laughing with your mouth wide open and teeth. You will smile your way all the way to prison. Enjoy the music. Don't land in custody. Right now, my heart, my spirit is safe, and I'm very happy because cannot trust anybody anywhere rather stay in my house. Because what I saw in custody, what I saw in prison is not something to smile about. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Let's work with Yellow Ribbon Initiative. Is a place where we reintegrate offenders, those who have come out of custody. We find a place to place them, start a business, build a life, and make them understand that they are still accepted in the society. And we appeal to the community, accept them and integrate them, build them, and encourage them that they are still part of us. It's only a small mistake that they committed and they will still rebuild their lives. You can also be in custody. Prison is not only for criminals, it's for anybody. In prison we met governors, we met MPs, we met judges, we even saw police officers, DCI officials. The only person you don't find in custody is the president. Stay safe and love your neighbor.